What's up? Wait,
hold on.
Wait. Are we?
No, we're good. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Here's the episode. That was the beginning of it. Welcome back to Dipped and Tone. I'm Rhett.
I'm Zach. And I just got a message that we need to finish this before the JHS live streams.
Oh yeah, great. It is Wednesday, isn't it?
Competing.
Dude, my week, my internal clock when it comes to understanding what day of the week it is completely shot right now. I don't know if it's Tuesday or if it's Saturday or like we're leaving for our trip tomorrow.
Right.
It's 6 a.m. driving. First leg of the trip, going to try and go from Atlanta to Oklahoma City. So we'll see how that goes.
How long of a drive is that?
It's listed at about 12 hours, but we all know that that's not ever how road trips go. So I'm going to budget about 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done plenty of those drives before, but I've always been, riding in the back of a van or a Sprinter or something. It's never been driving. So.
Right. Do you have to do a lot of like stopping for the dog, or is she pretty good?
No, she's great. Okay. Penny is like the best. She's just the best dog in general. I tell her almost every day she's the best dog that's ever lived because it's true. Mm-hmm. And if you don't agree with me, I don't want to hear about it. So, but as a road trip dog, she's phenomenal. She just sits in the back of the car quietly. She sleeps, and then occasionally she'll stick her head up, be like, "Hey, what you guys doing?" So,
still here?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm still back here. Still alive.
We took Fraser to a trainer, and that really helped. But it's like when you have a kid, your priorities are kid first, you know? Right. And so trying to keep him like trained up has been difficult. And a few days ago, Morgan took him to the groomer, just a normal, thing that you do with a dog. And when he got there, he jumped on the counter of the groomer where they had all their paperwork for all the dogs coming in that day, and he knocked everything off.
Oh, no.
And for those that have not seen my dog, Fraser, he's a golden doodle as well, but he's
way
80
bigger.
pounds.
Yeah, he's literally twice the size of my golden doodle.
He's huge. And so, Morgan was like, it's like... and then Morgan took Graham out for lunch and was like, Mommy has COVID. And she was like, no, I don't. I'm tested negative. He's just like yelling this out in public.
Yeah. She's like, stop being narc, kid. God.
Anyway.
What they say about snitches. God. Well, listen, the thing about golden doodles is my cousins have a golden doodle who's about the size of Fraser, and they did, as I understand it, no training at all. I could be wrong, but that's how it's been described to me. And the thing is, like, they're so intelligent because Fraser's a F1B, right? 75% poodle and 25 golden, or is he half and half?
I think his dad was a full poodle, and then his mom.
Yeah,
was
so Penny's the same way. So there's 75 standard poodle, 25 golden, and they're so smart. Penny is the smartest dog I've ever known or had. And so you have to she gets bored, and that's when she gets mischievous and gets into stuff, is when she gets bored. So you kind of always have to keep her entertained or keep her exercised. And that's the thing about those breeds, man.
Yeah, Fraser's just so social. Like, he wants you to play with him. Like, he'll play by himself, but he doesn't want to play by himself. And it's just
Penny's the same way. Constantly, she's coming up to you with those big golden doodle eyes.
Yeah.
Which are like human eyes. And she's
Love
like,
me.
Could you play with me, please? I'd like to play right now. So this is now a show about our dogs.
Yay.
And, again.
It would probably do way better. If we
it probably would. I'm just going to transition my whole brand to dog.
And again, becoming a parent, you see all sorts of things. And I have seen on YouTube, and sorry, this is taking us a while to get started, but we're going to get going here in a second. I've seen how much money could be made from just making silly videos of your pets. There's a guy that just goes to a lake and feeds turtles, and every video he posts gets over 1 million views.
Oh my God.
And it's like, wait,
dude, we're working way too hard.
Right.
We're just not working smart enough. We're working too hard and we're not working smart. What's the dumbest low effort thing we could do like that? But the thing about that is it's one of those things. Why didn't I think of that? But you would never think of that.
No. Because I think it takes a special kind of person to think, I'm going to video myself going to a lake and feeding turtles that I have named, making them food to bring them. It's like, it's a different thing. But some people just like, I don't know, they just know. Like there's this like Japanese couple that they have pet otters.
Okay.
And that got suggested once, and then we watched that one video, and now Graham is like obsessed. And so, but to be fair, it's just two otters like playing with each other, making cute noises and eating like frozen salmon. It's like really, it's not entertaining, but you can't look away.
That should be the moniker. That should be our motto for Dipped in Tone. It's not entertaining, but you can't look away. Oh God. Hey,
anyway.
Man. Yeah, we had my nieces and nephews come down for Christmas several months ago, and of course they wanted to watch TV, and so I'm standing there and I'm like, all right, what do you guys want to watch? And they're throwing out names of stuff I've literally never heard of before, never seen it. It's on Netflix and YouTube, and I'm just sitting there like dialing it up, and because I'm, a kidless millennial, I'm like, oh God, this is going to totally screw up my Netflix algorithm or my YouTube algorithm. And sure enough, for like 3 months after that, I was just getting recommended all these kids shows and these kids videos. Dude, that is a whole other
You gotta have a guest account or something for those
that was my mistake. There's like 4 kids and they're screaming and everyone's loud. Let me just get this like turned on, and I logged into my account and it all just went downhill after that.
Yeah.
So
So you're going on your trip.
Yep.
For me, back to normal podcast land. I am proud to announce that we are almost done with the Mythos pickup set.
Heyo.
So I've been changing some magnets, doing some swaps. The new set is in the sister to my TCS, because Novo made one for the showroom. So I put those pickups in that, and there.
Yep.
Dennis is checking it out. Matthew's checking it out. It's going to make the rounds, and then we'll probably try to make a few of those sets, and I'll send them to you and other people to get some impressions. And I'm really excited. I feel like we're at the point to where this is going to happen at some point this year. But
what should I put them in? My Les Paul?
That maybe, I don't know. It's like whatever. I think the idea behind them is not to be like a note for note clone of anything, but just to be a really good representation of what I think makes a good pickup. And Kalkidas in the chat asked, "Are we going to NAMM?"
I am going to NAMM.
I'm not. So
I wasn't going to go. And then my best friend, Philip Conrad, who you should all go follow. He's starting out on his YouTube journey, Philip Conrad Bass. Although his channel, he and I were talking we were talking about it the other day, and he's kind of straddling the line right now of, is he a bass channel or is he just a general music channel? Because he's a brilliant writer and arranger and producer and all this stuff. So anyways, he got invited by what is that ukulele company that does the uke bass? Kalea or Kalia? Sorry. But they invited him to NAMM. And so it's his first NAMM. So I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to let... Kala, yeah. It's like, well, if he's going to go, then I'm going to go. And then I got reached out to by Universal Audio to do something really cool. And so that kind of like was the final like driving thing. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, we need to go out there. So can't talk about it yet, but gonna get to do something really, really cool with UA while we're out there. So
I'm so curious as to what it's going to be like. Like this is the first real NAMM since Summer NAMM of 2020, I guess. Because like we had Winter NAMM of 2020, and this is the first like proper NAMM again.
Yeah,
and man, I don't know what it's going to be like. I know that most of the pedal guys have pretty much abandoned NAMM altogether. Or at least anybody that makes any money,
Yeah.
So
yeah, because it's just so expensive, dude, to do it. And I don't know much about how that side of the business works, but from the outside looking in, for pedal companies in particular, it's like I don't see the appeal to it.
No.
I was looking at the attendee list the other day though online, and I just kind of scrolled through the alphabetical, and it looked pretty long. I mean, compared to what Summer NAMM was last year, where it was basically like half a sheet of paper. It looks like there's going to be a bunch of people there. I just don't know if any of the people that I'm friends with or like really care to connect with and see are going to be there.
Yeah, I don't. I'm trying to look on their website. There's just like a big scrolling animated thing. It's hard to say. I think a lot of the smaller companies are just basically out. You know? So
yeah.
And then we did have a question about the GearFest thing.
Oh, right. We keep forgetting to plug that. Yeah.
Let's do this now.
Dipped in Tone Live is happening at GearFest Saturday, June
5th, I believe.
No, wait. June 25th.
Yes.
So here's the deal. It's a little up in the air as to whether or not GearFest is actually open to the public or not this year. They're not advertising it as it's open to the public. Maybe our event's open to the public. We will have more details on that. Regardless, we will be live streaming it over on my YouTube channel. And we're going to have some really special guests. We're going to dip a well-known player's rig live with them sitting there. I can't wait. Zach and I are going to get into a knockdown drag out fight in front of everyone. It's going to be great.
Yes.
And it's going to be an all around good time. So be on the lookout for that.
I'm excited. We're going to have, maybe one of us will slap another one, and then our fame will just skyrocket.
Yeah, dude. We could reenact the famous Oscars moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, let's do it.
Nice. Yeah, so there you go.
Flip a coin, who gets to take the hit.
Also, we got a new segment we're going to try out today. We got our first voicemail. If you want to leave us a voicemail, we're going to start doing this every week where we listen to a voicemail and answer your comment or question. So let's check out this week's voicemail.
Hey guys, it's Nathan from Minnesota, and I've got a bunch of different overdrives on my pedal board. I've got a Blues Breaker style drive. I've got a Tube Screamer style drive. I've got a distortion. I've got a Klon style drive and a Timmy style drive. I love overdrives, and I plan on keeping all of them on my board, even though I don't need them. But I'm just wondering, can we talk a little bit about overdrive stacking theory? Because I've seen some people, like Mason from Vertex, they tend to go high gain into low gain. Then there's other guys like Josh Scott or Brad Jackson who go the other way and go low gain into high gain. There's multiple factors to consider with the gain versus the EQ. So what are you guys' thoughts on how to stack overdrives in terms of those things?
All right. Well, thanks, Nathan, for the voicemail. So our theory on overdrive stacking. You want to go first?
Yeah. So how I have come to approach overdrive stacking kind of came about from making too many overdrives to sell and having to make pedal boards for events and stuff. But I feel like how I always go about it is turn the gain off on everything and see how they complement each other tonally in a low gain booster like situation before I start bringing the gain up, so you can see what hitting what feels right under your fingers and in your hands. Because oftentimes, things in certain orders can kind of make your tone fall apart, on a neck pickup or be too strident or something. And so I always kind of work that way and then start bringing the gain up. And in my opinion too, gain low is just better for overdrive stacking. You're not, you can really quickly overdo it with too much gain.
Yeah. That's interesting. I kind of do the opposite, where it's like, if I'm stacking a pedal, or if I'm stacking two overdrive pedals, I start with them both where I typically like them when they're on their own. So my favorite combination so far is the Greer Lightspeed and the Timmy V2. I think that's a really special combination. And I have a 3-pedal rule that I try and stick to when it comes to gain, and not including a fuzz pedal. And in Nathan's voicemail, he's got a lot of dirt
Yeah.
I would, we're not dipping his rig here, but I would recommend like maybe pare that down a little bit because, and I speak from experience, my board, I used to have 6 different overdrives on and I never got good results because I could never decide what I wanted to stack into what. And then they weren't all set up to stack into each other. And there was just too many combinations and it was too complicated. Right. So what I like to do is overdrive 1, overdrive 2, boost. Okay. Overdrive 1 usually is my medium gain. So I'll set the Timmy to like medium gain, smooth clipping kind of sound. Overdrive 2 is my lighter gain. So in this case, the Greer Lightspeed. And it's really more of like a colorful, slightly dirty boost. And then the boost either at the end or at the very beginning. You can kind of experiment and see which one you like better. But I've gotten the best results with that.
You like the Timmy into the Lightspeed?
I like the Timmy into the Lightspeed, although I've done both. When you find a good combination of 2 pedals that work really well together with an amp that works for your style, then it kind of can work either way.
Yeah, I mean, all of this is very amp dependent, and it's very dependent on how you play.
Yeah.
It's just I've always found. I mean, as some people in the chat are saying that you go with your method, and I will say that when I approach it, it's different than how everything ends up. But I feel like you have to find what works well in the EQ wise with each other because like I would probably run the Lightspeed into a Timmy because I feel like the Timmy has such a wider bandwidth of sound and then the Lightspeed would focus that.
I mean, or like a Klon would be another good example of that too. A Klon. When I did the JHS live stream a few weeks ago, Josh was talking about how he likes to do a Klon after a fuzz for that reason because the Klon just sort of focuses in like a 2.5K kind of peak, and it really focuses a fuzz. You can do the same thing with an overdrive. When I see pedal boards that have like 5 different overdrive or just gain pedals, not including fuzz, I always think like, dude, you need to cut that down to 2 and like a good boost because you can cover just as much ground with 2 really good overdrives and a boost and arguably get better results because you can set it up so that those 3 pedals work incredibly well together rather than trying to go through all the different combinations of like, well, what if I do this into this pedal or this into that pedal and then this into this pedal? Like it's too much.
Yeah. And I feel like you can kind of get lost playing your pedals and not playing guitar by having a lot of sounds. And like, I get it if you have a cover gig and you need that many sounds, but to me at that point, invest in a modeler. And use
just
that.
Get an Axe FX or Kemper.
But for playing guitar, you want to play guitar and just have the sounds that really accent how you approach the instrument.
Yeah. And again, you can do this with 3 overdrives where you set one of the overdrives as more of a boost, right? You could do this with a Klon at the end. So you could do, Mjolnir, Lightspeed, Timmy or whatever, OCD, whatever you got, and then use the Klon, bring the gain down, bring the overall volume up, and use that Klon as a clean-ish boost. And the cool thing about that is the Klon is going to add some color. It is going to add some saturation, but it's not going to be like the Vertex Boost. I'm a big fan of the Vertex Boost. I actually sold my KTR years ago to buy a Vertex Boost, which looking back was a terrible financial decision. But the reason I did, I think I've told this story before, but the KTR has a ribbon cable that connects the foot switch to the board. And the ribbon cable would keep popping off of the foot switch, and I'd be on a gig, and I would go to kick on the pedal, and it would just mute my signal. And I called Bill Finnegan, Mr. Klon, about it, and his answer to me was, "Yeah, they just do that." So I listed it and sold it for what I paid for it, and bought my first from Carter Vintage. I bought the Vertex Boost from Carter Vintage. Actually, you probably were working there when I bought it.
When was that? Probably
that would have been 2015.
Yeah, I was probably 2015, 2016, 17.
Yeah,
that was probably
because
there. It might have been me,
dude. The day that I bought it, I was playing with Muddy Magnolias, and I had a gig that night out at Fontenelle. We were opening. We did 2 nights opening for Kid Rock.
Oh yeah, man!
It was. It was awful. it was an awful experience in more ways than one.
Well, I think we've answered Nathan's question there.
Yeah. But do we still drink if I mention Carter, by the way?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, drinks.
Carter in general. As I'm getting the rig ready for dipping, there is a great, I think the YouTube channel or the series was called Guitar Moves.
Yeah.
And there's one where the guy goes to interview Billy Gibbons and he's at Kid Rock's like barn or something. And it's like,
I haven't seen that one.
And they're all just, well, Billy and Kid Rock are faded.
Yeah.
And it's so funny.
Kid Rock, I've become a big fan of Pat Finnerty's videos recently. And what brought me into his channel was what makes the song, or the Kid Rock, what makes the song stink video. If you haven't seen his channel, you should absolutely check it out. It's phenomenally, it's so good.
Well, here we go. I got this because I picked this because of the name at first, but I think it's an interesting rig.
Ooh.
So this belongs to Mr. Nick Miller.
Hey. Mr. New Girl himself.
That's it.
That's it. Nick, I'm sure that's the first time you've ever gotten that joke, by the way.
What's the Pepperwood? The Pepperwood Chronicles.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Man,
Mr.
talk about a
Pepperwood.
show that really fell off way hard, way fast. The last season, I can't finish the last season. It's so bad.
Morgan kind of likes the last season, but I'm with you. The first two or three seasons of that show are
some of the best
gold.
comedic television that's ever been written. And then, the last season it was just horrific. But
yeah,
my God.
Okay, here we go. So Mr. Nick Miller's pedalboard here we got, rig, excuse me, is G&L ASAT Classic, Ventera Jazzmaster with some Curtis Novak P90 pickups. And he says he's debating on selling Jazzmaster to get some sort of 335 thing. But then pedalboard, he's got dual input buffer, Dunlop volume, Keeley 2-knob compressor, MXR Poly Blue Octave. There's a lot of stuff here. Walrus Julia, Greer Lightspeed, JHS Morning Glory, the Timmy, a Rat 2 from the 80s, the Iridium, the Timeline, the Flint, the Blue Sky, and then dual expression pedals he built for the Timeline and the Poly Blue Octave.
Wow.
Disaster Area DMC 3XL MIDI controller for the Timeline and some Voodoo Lab pedal power underneath. And then he's got a Blues Junior, but he says he rarely uses it since getting the Iridium.
Nice.
So
okay, cool. Let's talk about the guitar. So GNL, solid. It's a Telly.
It's a I mean,
it's a Telly. They're cool. There's always I do really like the GNLs are cool. You know, obviously it's kind of more of a Fender than a Fender is in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, after Leo sold Fender to CBS, there was how long was his, like, he had a non-compete clause for a while, right?
Yeah, he did some stuff, for Music Man, or I guess he started Music Man, right?
I think he started Music Man and then went and started GNL.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the history of GNL, is that it's a Leo Fender company. And then I believe that was his company until...
He was there until he passed.
Yeah. So more of a Fender than a Fender. Cool guitar. I do wish, this is totally a stupid aesthetic nitpicky thing, but I got to give people something to yell at me about in the comments. So the neck pickups on GNLs, I don't like the open pole pieces on Tellys. It just looks weird to me.
That's just that pickup style, and it's on the bridge too.
That bridge is fine because that's kind of like normal Telly thing. Again, it's totally
you like
stupid.
That cover.
I like the cover. It's a classic look. But yeah, butterscotch maple board Telly. Kind of can't go wrong with that.
Yep.
Interesting question about should he sell the Jazzmaster to get a 335?
Yeah, he says that he doesn't like the way the Pal Faro feels and wants to try something with humbucker. I'm one of those people that says, how much do you really feel of a fingerboard?
I feel it, but I also have the touch of a blacksmith on the guitar, so I'm I always grip when I'm playing, my tips of my fingers are wrapping around the string and touching the fretboard on anything that I play. Mm-hmm. You can feel the difference between a maple board and a rosewood board, right?
I mean, I think they sound different.
No, but you can feel the difference though.
I mean, I guess I don't
Really?
think I don't think it's that drastic. I mean, I don't push that hard, and I mean, like you can feel the fret, but do you feel?
Dude, that's interesting. Yeah, I definitely do. I feel huge difference. It changes the way I play on a maple fretboard guitar because I guess so much of my finger is touching the lacquer finish that it's like it feels different. It feels slower to me.
Slower?
Yeah.
The lacquer?
Yeah, because you know how lacquer like can get kind of sticky on your hands? That's why people always sand the back of the neck. Same thing happens on the fingerboard for me.
I mean, I guess I can kind of feel the wood, but it's not enough to be like, oh, I can feel the fibrous nature of this rosewood underneath.
Hold on. Am I crazy? Somebody in the chat, let me know. All right.
I mean, I'm just picking up guitars now. And this, oh, look at this beauty right here.
Oh, God. Get that out of my face. Yeah, okay. So, like, here's my Sarah's T. So if I play, like, on the third string, on the G, I've got, like, all three of my fingertips are touching the fretboard around the string. And then if I do, like, a bar chord...
Well, you can't feel it on your first finger.
You know, I mean, the bar chord, I can't really feel, but if I'm playing single note lines like this...
I don't feel...
Is that... Okay, let me see.
My finger is literally... Unless I'm rolling my finger one side or the other, like on this guitar, I mean, the Strandberg has pretty tall frets.
Yeah. Which does make a difference.
My finger is physically not even touching the wood.
Oh, this is interesting too, because the chat is split, it seems. Sam Edwards says 100% agree. Both things can be true. You can be crazy and you can feel it. I play bass.
Okay, Ben's make it obvious. Crazy. Yeah, I guess if you're feeling... But here's the thing. The fingerboard wood... it's not impeding the string or any of the feel, in my opinion, because it's all about the frets.
Sure, but I'm saying just it's not impeding the feel of or the sound of the string. I'm saying that like my fingertips touch the fingerboard when I play, and I feel it. And a lacquered maple fingerboard feels completely different than. And honestly, if you notice. Almost every guitar I have is a rosewood fingerboard, with the exception of my Esquire, because I prefer the rosewood. Because to me, the lacquered fingerboard feels like sticky. Like my fingertips are dragging against that. The way to describe how I feel it is if you just put your fingers in between two strings and then try and do a vibrato. That's what I'm feeling when I play.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think it's, I don't know. I think it's one of those arguments that a lot of people have that if you really sat down and like did it when you're just by yourself, like thinking about it, you're like, oh, well, it's not really that.
No,
I don't know.
But I'm playing like I normally do right now. And I can, there's a substantial. Wonder if it would
really impede you in like you're actually playing guitar situation.
No, I mean, it's not like if I pick up a maple neck guitar, it's all of a sudden like, oh, Rhett sounds like shit all of a sudden. It's like, I feel it, and it is a different thing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just funny. I'm just looking because on my Solus has much more normal size frets. And even then what I'm touching of the fingerboard is such a minor thing that I don't know. It's just me. I don't think it makes that big of a difference. I think sonically it does because you hear a neck. But feel-wise,
oh, that's an interesting debate we've never really talked about. Is the fretboard wood?
Yeah, I don't think that a maple fingerboard makes a guitar inherently brighter.
I don't either, but I do think the neck construction and the neck wood doesn't impede or impact the sound. Nick's in the chat said he's tried oiling this board and it's always super dry. The small vintage frets are probably more the issue than the Palfaro itself. You're probably right. But I agree with Nick on this. I don't like Palfaro as well. I understand the need for it. I understand it's a more sustainable option to rosewood. I get it. I just don't.
Aesthetically, it's not as attractive. I think the thing you could do would be, like, if you like the guitar and just like it kind of tripping you up the way it looks. Monty's in the UK makes a wax that you can like put on that wood and it'll make it all dark. And that's what I would do.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I advocate for Palfero as a more sustainable option for guitar woods. And that's, something we should all be paying attention to that we don't really talk about enough actually as guitar players is the sustainability of these guitars and the environmental impact on it. But,
yeah.
So anyways, all that to say, should he sell his Jazzmaster and buy a 335?
Yes. You got the single coil thing.
Yeah, you should.
Let's do it.
Yeah, Nick, you have our permission. So
I feel like that's one of those things you're finding an excuse to justify making it okay to sell it.
You've made up your mind, and we all do this. I do this. I've done this about a new truck where it's like I've made up my mind about this truck 3 weeks ago, but I'm still like hemming and hawing and doing research, and it's also a terrible time to buy a car, so I'm not going to buy a car right now.
Yeah.
Which interestingly, it's actually in some cases better to buy new right now than used because used car prices are so insane.
100%. If you can find a new car. Anyway.
Well, but yeah, sorry, it's not a car podcast. I was listening to Smoking Tire earlier today, and I'm all over it. Okay. So sell the Jazzmaster, get a 335. Now onto the board. I want to point something out here. First of all, as we were apropos of our discussion earlier, the Lightspeed and the Timmy, great combo, love it. Also really like the Rat on here. Great addition. Keep the Rat. I would ditch the Morning Glory here. And sorry, Josh, but I think the Lightspeed and the Morning Glory are so close in what they do.
Disagree.
No, I mean the Morning Glory's got more gain on tap than the Lightspeed, but
I'm gonna say something.
Uh-oh.
I don't like the Lightspeed.
Oh, you motherfucker.
I bought one. I've had two. And so what we did, me, McKinley, Jeff, we all gathered around and I got every pedal that lives in that camp and compared it. And I just can't. I think there are better options.
I think I have never been this close to quitting the podcast in my life.
The Strandberg didn't do it?
No. I feel attacked.
No, well, I mean, like, hey, it's different strokes. If it makes you happy and it makes you enjoy what you're doing, it's great. But I think I thought I got it, and then I sold one years ago. And then when I got another one, I was like, I don't quite get it anymore.
Okay. What do you think does the Lightspeed thing better than the Lightspeed?
Oh, I think the Morning Glory would be a much more usable choice.
Not when he's got the Timmy on the board.
But the Timmy and the Morning Glory are the Lightspeed and the Timmy are closer sonically and like topology wise than the Morning Glory would be.
No, I got a hard disagree here. I think the Lightspeed and the Timmy are such a good combination, and I think where the Lightspeed lives naturally in its low gain mode, it's close enough to where the Morning Glory lives in its low gain mode is close enough to what the Lightspeed does, and I think the Lightspeed's one of the greatest pedals of all time. And you hear that, Nick? Are you listening? Zach's talking shit.
I'm not. I'm just saying. Like,
Zach
I'm allowed
everything.
No, I'm allowed to not be my favorite. It's just funny because we were comparing a bunch of stuff and like I thought, oh, this is gonna like knock everything else out, and then immediately just kind of set it aside. And yeah, I don't know, especially the higher gain tones. I don't like it.
It must be the room you're playing in or something, or
all this shitty equipment I have.
That shitty 2-rock amp or something like that.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Novo guitars. Like, what am I doing?
God, what are you even doing with your life, dude? Like, get some gear with personality, would you? I mean, my God.
Ugh. Make something.
God, Jesus. Anyways, all right. Well, props for the Rat.
Love the Rat.
Love the Rat. Love the Strymon stuff too. People like to shit on Strymon because it's everywhere, and it is sort of the obvious choice. I get it. Like the Strymon Flint is kind of the Toyota Camry of the pedal world. You can quote me on that, but here's the deal: it's on everybody's board for a reason. I mean, it's damn good.
Yeah.
The Timeline, still one of the greatest delay pedals ever. It's what 11 years old now.
Something like that.
Come on, man. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot that this does. It's very like unapproachable for me because of all the controllers and stuff. It's like, oh, what? But it's, I mean, it looks like you could do a lot of stuff.
No, you know what? Let me revise my statement. Here's the quote. The Strymon Flint is the Mazda Miata of the pedal world. It's just it. It's like
a Miata?
The Miata.
I would think it's way more of a Camry or a Civic or, you know, an Accord situation.
It's just the answer. It's like the answer is always Miata, right? The answer is always Flint.
Oh, man. I think you're too tall to say the answer is always Miata.
Well, it is. I mean, objectively, yes, I'm too tall for a Miata, but like, it's just, you know, I want a lightweight rear-wheel drive sports car that's affordable that I can modify and take the track.
Sports car,
Miata.
I think, is very generous.
No, it is a sports car. It is a proper sports car.
A Mazda Miata,
Zach,
is a sports car.
Okay, chat, please. Anyone who knows anything about cars, yes, it is. It is like the most widely used and like the purest form of a sports car. Naturally aspirated, manual transmission, rear-wheel drive, lightweight, purpose-built sports car. And it's low power. It's low power, so you can actually use 100% of the car on the road. It's not like you're buying some 500 horsepower, like, you know, Dodge Challenger or whatever.
It's just so pedestrian. Anyway.
It is pedestrian, but that's the point. That's the point with the Flint. The Mazda Miata is so great, but it's so pedestrian. The Flint is so great, but it's so pedestrian.
But the Flint transcends. The Flint can do everything. I don't know. I think the Flint's a little better than a Miata.
Oh my God.
It's no RX-8. You know, that's all I'm saying.
Oh God, the RX-8 was trash.
No, I'm kidding.
The RX-8 like had one of the worst engines to ever be put in any
Says
car.
You. All right. Anyway,
the Wankel rotary engine. Oh
yeah.
Now we're gonna get all the rotary bros hating on us.
Finally.
Hold on.
So.
Oh hey. Oh wait, we gotta dip this rig still.
Yeah.
Sorry. Blues Junior. It's cool. Is that a V4 though, or is that a V3?
It's a later one because it has a black panel and the cream knob, so it's more of a later one.
Yeah, definitely better than the V3, which is what I've got.
Yeah.
I had to mod the ever-loving hell out of my V3 to get it to sound good, so it's all right. I'd probably get rid of it and move on to something else.
Yeah, literally anything else.
Yeah. No, this is better than the Hot Rod Deluxe for sure.
Disagree.
I'm gonna get in my goddamn car and I'm gonna drive up there and we're gonna fight today.
I think with this pedal board, a Hot Rod Deluxe would serve you better because it's not going to be as small sounding. It's going to have way more headroom. You have every gain option available. I would
on the Hot Rod Deluxe.
No.
On
with
the
this pedal in this rig in this situation, I think a Hot Rod Deluxe would be much better served.
Here's what you should do: you should sell this, and you should get a Tone Master Deluxe.
That's fine. I'm fine with that. Yes,
that's fine. Jesus, God, we're getting a divorce after this.
Oh, finally.
All right. Here's the deal. So I would say. This is a very well thought out, very well executed rig. It's a lot of safe choices on the pedals, right? Nothing here that's super mind blowing, but they're safe for a reason. It's cool. Sell the Jazzmaster, get a 335. Sell the Blues Junior, get a Tone Master. 7.9 Shoils.
Okay. There's a lot going on. I would ditch the light speed, ditch the morning glory, just have the Timmy and the Rat. Maybe just simplify the whole board and then do what Rhett said, sell the Jazzmaster Blues Junior. But I thought you might like this a little bit more than that. I don't like it that much. I don't hate it. It's just not my fave.
Sure. What don't you like about it?
It's just too much on the board.
Yeah, I think you could pare down the board a little bit.
Yeah.
Drop one of the drives, Morning Glory. Maybe think about a loop switcher. Also, I mean,
yeah.
the Flint. I was going to say the Flint and the Blue Sky, but the reality is those are two very different things.
Yeah, very different. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's a solid 7.
Here's the deal: if I was on a gig and I saw Nick roll up with this, I'd be like, yeah, nice.
Yeah, sure.
Nice. Cool. We're working with a real player here. You know? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hey, speaking of overdrives, you sold an overdrive this week.
I did. So sold the Jazzmaster, which was cool. And then immediately thereafter, I sold my Tim, and I sold it for $875 before reverb fees, mind you. So they got theirs.
Oh my God.
But yeah,
oh my God.
In full disclosure, I bought it from EMS for, I think it was $300. It might have been $350.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was.
When did you buy it?
20. I think it was 2020. I think it was around my birthday of 2020.
Wow, those have really gone up.
Yeah, and at the moment I like put it in the package and set it out for the post office to pick it up, I was like, damn, I should have probably kept that because of the money. But, it's fine. And I wanted to recoup some of my Strandberg costs. So
yeah, well, you did that. I mean, my Tim, I'm not going to sell for 2 reasons. I want to keep it. It's a cool pedal. Also, mine was sold to me by a subscriber who knowingly gave it to me well under market value. And so I would never put that up and, try and flip it. Also, it does I need to send it to you because the switches are still bad on it. I thought the Deoxit would fix it, but it's got some bad switches. But yeah, good on you, man. That's quite the investment.
Yeah, I think, and that's the thing that maybe this is something we could talk about today, because I've been looking at, I'll go in my closet where all my pedal stuff is, and I just look at it all. I'm like, I don't need any of this,
Yeah.
And my guitars, I think I've pared down enough, to where it's just like the necessities. But I see all these pedals and all this stuff, and I'm just at the point in my life where I want less clutter and less shit. Mm-hmm. Unless I pick it up and it sincerely makes me go, oh, this is like the Marie Kondo thing. It really makes me happy.
Sparks joy.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same. I'm getting to the same place, and this is totally such a first world problem to have. But I've gotten a lot of stuff through the channel over the years, which I've been very fortunate to have. But a lot of this stuff, I probably would have bought on my own, but not over the course of 3 years or something like that. And so I just have I have the same kind of thing. My pedal shelf is stocked full of stuff. But I have an opposite problem, which is almost like a hoarder mentality, where I go and I look at something and I'm like, okay, I have played this Overdrive once. I'm going to sell it. And I'm like, ooh, but it kind of does its thing. And what if I want to use it? And then I'm like, oh, damn, I shouldn't have sold that Overdrive. I'm so paranoid about regretting losing gear that I just never sell anything.
But I mean, I think it says something about the gear, or maybe about you, if you only played it once.
True.
Why? I mean, there are things. I moved all my pedals from around the shop. I consolidated onto a shelf in my office now, and I'm looking at it. And there's a lot of things on here that I've played once and said, "Oh, that's pretty rad." But there's so many things that I know I'll never play them again. I know I never will.
Yeah.
And so what's the point of holding on to it? And having, I mean, people might say oh, just make a pedal board and put it on there and then you have it to use and you'll play it. But I don't give a shit about that. I just want to use the stuff that actually inspires me to play. So,
well, I'm in a little bit different position because, a lot of this stuff I use to make videos. So one of the videos I've got banked, I can't remember if it would have come out by the time this comes out or not, but basically I made a video on hey, how do I find the right overdrive? How do I buy the right overdrive? Because that's the question I get asked more than anything else. I'm sure you get that too. It's what overdrive should I buy? So
Mythos.
Well, I have the Mjolnir in the video, but it was okay, I want to cover sort of the main overdrive food groups for this video. So it's at any given time, I need to have access to a tube screamer, a blues breaker, a klon, an amp in a box, like some various different things. And for me, I found myself in situations where it's like, oh, this pedal I haven't played in a year, but I'm really glad I have it because I'm going to use it on this video and I need it for this video. So that's a slightly different thing. Also,
it's a prop.
Well, it's not a prop in the sense that like, well, yeah. I mean, it's a teaching tool, basically. Like, hey, here's what a tube screamer sounds like compared to a blues breaker circuit in the context of a clean amp.
Aren't you glad that I sent you a tube screamer?
I am, because I used the non-modded one for this video, and I used it on the John Mayer solos video that I just put out. I have the tube screamer on my board the whole time.
Yeah, you did.
People are like, "Oh, well, dude,
how'd
you get the tone on Gravity?" It's like it's a tube screamer into a Fender.
It's so easy.
and you know what? That's where a tube screamer should live. A Fender Strat.
Wait, we've already argued enough. I don't want to fight with you anymore. I'm leaving. I'll send the courier over tonight.
The title of this episode needs to be Rhett and Zach almost break up.
Like tears on her eyes.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, so I'm in kind of a unique position there, but I think there is something to that that point of if you haven't played something in a year, like a year, you haven't touched it. There's not been a situation that's come up that you've decided to pick up that guitar or that pedal or plug in that amp. You could probably let it go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And before we got started, you were mentioning like letting some guitars go. Because I feel like more than anything, you got a lot of guitars laying around.
I have too many guitars. But it's a weird position to be in because a lot of the guitars I have were given to me.
Yeah, how does that work? So like,
well, so here's how it works. In full transparency, a gear company reaches out to me and they say, "Hey, we have new XYZ piece of gear coming out. We'd love you to make a demo video." And my response is pretty much always the same. Hey, I don't do straight ahead demo videos, and I don't do sponsored videos about your piece of gear claiming of how great it is. Like, I'm not interested in that. I will do gear review videos of pieces of gear that are hotly reviewed or hotly anticipated, i.e. DL4 Mark II, the Quad Cortex, that kind of stuff. But I want to be able to spend a lot of time with it first, and you don't pay for the video other than I keep the piece of gear, so that is a form of payment, but I get to say what I want. I give my honest opinion of the piece of gear. You don't see the video, you have no input on the video whatsoever, and that's it. And most companies now are cool with it, but some of them aren't. Like I send that response to, I'd say about 40% of the companies that we respond to with that just say, "Oh no, thanks. We just want a good review."
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm not your guy. But like, or in the case of the Gibson Theodore, for example, so they gave me that guitar because they wanted a video about it. But my video wasn't a review of the guitar. It was, and the reason I agreed to do that because I thought it was an interesting story about Ted McCarty. So I wanted my video primarily to be about Ted McCarty and this interesting design that they had. It was not like, "Hey, how great is this guy?" I mean, it's a double P90 wrap tail Gibson. It's basically a special with a funky shape, right? So, but yeah, now it's an interesting thing where the Theodore is cool. It's a collector's piece. I don't really play it because when I pick up a P90 guitar, I'm playing my Saris J.
Right.
And so it's like,
or your SG Junior.
Or the Junior, yeah. Or even the Casino gets played before the Theodore gets played.
Right. And I mean, I've heard a lot of people say that they're like, despite how kind of odd they look, they actually are really cool guitars.
They are really cool guitars. So it's like, so it's like, do I sell it? Is that a bad hang to sell it? YouTube guitarist sells his free guitar that was given to him by Gibson, but like, I don't know. It's a weird thing. Or do I just put it in its case and let it sit and,
And then what? You sell it like later.
I
think there has to be like an X amount of time, right? It would be one thing if you got the guitar, the video drops, and then at that afternoon, it's on Reverb.
Yeah.
On your Reverb store.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
like that's.
I did sell some gear, like when the SG came up. There's been 2 times that I've sold gear that has been from YouTube, like YouTube gear. One is to buy my 64 AC30, and the other was to buy the 65 SG Junior, where it's like, okay, both of these acquisitions are something that needs to happen. I need to do what I can do to mix to make it happen, and then I will part ways with gear that I've used before, where it's like I feel like we're clear with the company. If the company gave me this thing, I've used it in videos, I've talked about it, then that's it. But it's a weird discussion. I've talked to RJ about it. Some people have a problem with it. So other people say it's not a big deal. I mean,
I feel like what people have to keep in mind is that if you're given something, they agree to your terms, then it's yours.
Yeah.
And if you want to sell it, you're basically recouping it's that's your payment. I mean, like the gear is, but also like, if this happens a lot in the pedal demo community and a lot of, without naming names, like sometimes when you send stuff to people and that is their form of payment, there have been people that will immediately throw it up on Gear Page for like no money just so they can like get their money back.
Yeah.
And that often it's worse than if they just said, hey, like they just put it up without even saying anything or putting it up as close to like normal use price. But there have been historically some people that have like done stuff and just completely, so played it once and they posted it on the Gear Page or wherever for like half of what it even should retail for used.
Right.
And so I don't know. I feel like it's fine.
Yeah.
It
depends on the thing, because if it's like a gear demo YouTuber where that's their thing and they're making money from, or their form of payment is the piece of gear to demo your pedal.
Yeah.
That's one thing. I'm not that kind of YouTuber. So for me, if I accept a piece of gear, it's because it's something that I'm interested in. I turn down most, maybe half the things that are offered because it's like I'm never going to use that. It's never going to show up on the channel. Like, just save your money, send it. And not to be rude, not to be like, oh, I'm not interested in that. It's just like it's not going to happen. I don't want you to like send me something and then. Because the other part of it too, this is such a niche problem. Nobody knows about or cares about.
Well,
but it's like I only take gear from companies I'm interested in working with or people that I know, and am fairly confident that I'm going to have a really good working relationship. Like cool people, like. Those are the companies that I show on my channel and the gear that I talk about on my channel for the most part, other than, the big faceless Ibanez, for example, talking about Tube Screamer. I play Novo stuff a lot because I love the guitars. I've invested in those guitars and they're friends of mine. They're people I want to talk about and promote. I play Mythos pedals because we're friends. Like we do the podcast together. You make really good stuff. I want more people to hear about what you do.
That check every month is really...
Yeah, I mean, dude, they don't call me Rhett Shull for nothing, dude.
Woo! Cha-ching!
Cha-ching. But anyways, yeah, so it's like, getting back to the topic at hand, is like if you haven't played something in a year, to me, I feel like 12 months is a good... Once that 12 months rolls around, it's time to start thinking about it. Or if something comes up where... there's an opportunity to buy something where it's like, okay, I can scrape together some cash, but I'm going to need to like move some things. Then you start to look at your inventory and think like, okay, what haven't I touched here? And this might hurt a little bit to sell, but knowing that I'm going to sell it and step up into this better thing, I think that's the way to go. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. I get a lot of like, or not all the time, but sometimes I get like gear guilt. Like, oh, I bought this thing because I really want to like it and I just hate it, And I mean, like I do that all the time. Like, oh, I bought, this Beatronics pedal and I just don't like it.
Yeah, you're a hard man to please. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's funny. Like I've I do that a lot, and a lot of things I'll wind up with, and then it just completely uninspires me, and then I feel guilty because I want to support these people that I genuinely like as people, but I just don't like the stuff they make. And then like the Lightspeed, like I love Nick, he's a great guy. Like
he's awesome
I would
guy.
consider us friends. I helped do the layout on the Sure Shot. Like we're we're cool, but the Lightspeed's not my favorite. And that's
the record, I know that there's other Greer pedals that you do really dig, like
Super Hornet rules. Yeah. I like a lot of Nick's stuff. I really like the Soma. That one was cool.
Yeah, that one's cool. Yeah.
I've had a lot of them over the years. It's just like, for whatever reason, it's one of those things, and I see this. I mean, like, I'm looking behind the curtain in a totally different way. But I see a lot of pedals that I'll see on people's board, and I think this is just because I'm a pedal builder, and so often like I'm comparing myself to these other people too, and I see stuff that I think, well, why not me?
Yeah.
and that's not a healthy way to look at stuff,
right?
But I just it's just one of those things. Like there's some things I just don't get, and I get the Lightspeed for like why people like it. I just don't happen to think it's like. I think it's just. I don't know. I think I've said
the Lightspeed for me works so well because it fits perfectly into my style of playing and my style of amp, which is you put it in front of a Tweed Deluxe and it rips. You put it in front of an AC30 and it rips. Something that's broken up a little bit already, and that Lightspeed's just kicking it a little bit harder. In front of a super clean amp, I agree. I don't really like what the Lightspeed does.
Yeah, but I'm the same way. I don't play clean amps.
Yeah,
it's just weird.
I just like it. I just like it.
Yeah.
No,
it's fine.
That's fine. No, I mean, it's fine if you like shit, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like, I won't try a Tube Screamer. Whatever. Listen to me, but fuck.
Yeah, okay. So, look, it's, have we settled anything? Probably not.
No. I don't even know what we were talking about.
I'm going to keep the Theodore. It is a cool guitar, and it actually, those pickups do sound a little bit different than the other, like the P90s in my Novo. Like the Theodore does sound different, and every time I do play the Theodore, I'm like, damn, this is a cool guitar.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, I wonder what it's going to be worth in like 5 years or 10 years.
Honestly, I don't know that it's going to be worth much, because what happened was, and I knew this was going to happen. People bought them, and immediately they were on reverb because they retail for $5. It's an expensive guitar. They bought them and immediately turned around and threw them up on reverb for $7, $8.
Right.
And
is that what they're at? I'm looking right now.
But like, they've been sitting there. Nobody's actually buying them. Let's do a little reverb deep dive here.
Let's see. It's so hard because like Reverb changed how their price guide worked, because it used to be really clear what things had sold for, and now it's not. Yeah, there's one up. The cheapest is $5,400 for a Cherry. Which
there's 11.
I think the Cherry looks really good.
Yeah, I like the Cherry.
Yeah, they range from from $5,400 to $8,000.
See, and that's when there's spreads that wide, the market doesn't know what it's doing. You got people out there trying to, make a buck.
Man, isn't it funny how? Sorry to interrupt, but isn't it funny how Chicago Music Exchange made taking photos of a guitar in front of pieces of wood like an industry standard for used guitars? Anyway.
Yeah, and here's the other thing though too. It's like, for a super limited run, there's only 318 of them. Somebody listed one at 12 and they've dropped it to 8. Bro.
Oh, I see that. Yeah. $4,001 price drop. You know what? It's also like, this is something that I don't think we spoke about it on the channel yet. We talked about it, but the Scala Gibsons.
Yeah.
There's one of those that showed up on. Oh shit! No, there's 3 on Reverb right now. Now, okay, mind you, those Scalas were, I think they started around 20 for like the simplest version. And if you're not familiar, it was Leo Scala is a boutique builder, and when Gibson started partnering with builders like Banker to make licensed shapes, they contracted him, and he is essentially taking like empty husks of Flying V's and turning them into guitars. And there's like 3 different variations. The highest level one, the highest level one, the ones that had like one had like an etched Indian on the pickguard, looked very much like an Indian motorcycle thing. That was 65 grand from Gibson. But now these base ones that I think started around 20 grand, which is in and of itself crazy, are now over 70,000 to
75,000 dollars.
The 75,000, that's the middle tier. So that one was, I think, closer to 30.
What?
So
for a brand new guitar.
Yeah. And I mean, he's I know it doesn't seem like much. He is like winding the pickups and making a lot of stuff on this guitar, but still.
Sure. That's great. It's 10 grand. I get like 10. Great.
Yeah.
But 70, who's buying this?
I don't know. Apparently the one that was 65,000 took 2 days to sell from Gibson.
Who is buying these? This has got to be like some dude who like sold his .com era company and lives in some ranch in Montana that just has more money than he physically knows what to do with. Like that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I'm not sure if they all started at 20 grand, but I mean, it doesn't matter.
And to be clear, like this is asking price. Okay, so yeah. I mean, we just saw a Theodore that was asking 12, where obviously that's not going to happen. And
I will say too, these single pickup looking Flying V's are rad as hell.
Yeah, super cool. But this is a shop asking 75 grand for this guitar. Come on, man.
Used. Yeah, they probably snagged them up and then flipped them. And a lot of people do that. I mean, that's like a common thing.
The people do it with Novo. Yeah, and it's just why does that bother me so much?
I don't know.
It's fine. Like people are free to do whatever they want, I guess, but it just really bugs the hell out of me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Maybe it's a double standard because it's like you just flipped your Tim and that doesn't bother me. But you know what? Here's what bothers me about it. You didn't buy your Tim with the intention of flipping it. It's people that, this is what grinds my gears here. It's people that buy the thing with the intention of flipping it to make a buck immediately. Like you didn't want that guitar or that pedal or whatever. You don't care about how it sounds or plays or any of that stuff. You want the name, you want the notoriety of the instrument so that you can just flip it and make some cash, like it's an NFT or something.
Oh God.
Which this obviously is better than an NFT because it's real and you can actually own it. But
it's a thing you can touch.
But still, I don't. For 75, if you've got 75 grand to spend on a guitar.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I'm
gonna go to Chicago Music Exchange right now.
You could. And even from an investment perspective, there is such better ways to spend your money on a guitar than dropping it on a brand new Gibson that was like a limited edition, almost like fashion piece, basically. It's like it's almost like a...
It looks like an Affliction shirt made into a guitar.
Kind of, it's like a collab kind of thing. You know, you'd see, it's like a Supreme, it's like a hype beast kind of thing.
Wait a minute. What? Okay. I just went to CME and sorted vintage, like the vintage electric guitar thing, high to low. And the most expensive guitar they have on their website currently is a 54 Telly that's only $21,000.
Okay. Go buy that Telly.
Right.
Go buy that Telly because first of all, it's 21 grand. It may or may not be good. Not all Blackguard Tellys are great, but
no.
As an investment, I think that's a much, much stronger use of your money than dropping 75, which let's be real, that guitar's not going to sell for 75, but even 65.
Well, I mean, Carter's has a 63 ES 335 for $27,000. Now,
those have gone down.
Got down. Last time I sold one, like we sold a 64 for 15.
I thought those were in the 30s.
Well, maybe, I don't know, but hell,
Yeah, or maybe it was a 64 that was like close to Clapton's serial number or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, but even still, you getting into an early 335. I mean, it's just like, it's an odd thing to see these guitars for this crazy money.
Here's the thing, like, this is the vintage. So I hear people talk about, and I saw this in my Gibson video, the comments in my Gibson video a couple weeks ago, people saying like, what's going to happen when all the boomers die off and they're like, young people don't care about these guitars. People are always going to care about these guitars.
Yeah.
Right. And we're talking about a very, very small market of people here that are actually investing in these guitars. I mean, maybe a few thousand people worldwide. There's always going to be enough people interested in those guitars to be. I mean, it's like a Stradivarius violin. That'd be like, oh, well, what classical music's not popular anymore, so those people aren't going to be interested in those violins. Wrong.
Yeah.
They're just going to get more and more and more expensive. And the same thing's going to happen with these golden era vintage guitars. Bursts are always going to be expensive. Blackguards are going to be expensive. Early Strats, 335s, SGs, they're all going to be expensive. So if you're one of these people that's got money to invest in a guitar, because you love guitar, you love collecting guitars, and you want to make a sound investment, in my opinion, it's a much better use of your money to go buy a well-sorted, well-documented, pedigreed vintage instrument than going and dropping. Because what's going to happen, it's a scarcity problem. So right now, yeah, there's just a handful of these Scala guitars, but what's going to happen if the team at Gibson decides to do another run of the Scala guitars? Now, right, your investment has immediately depreciated because, well, now there's more on the market than there was last year. And that's not going to happen with a Burst or a Blackguard. They're finite.
There will never be any more. Yeah, I mean, like here, there's a 1960 Les Paul Custom Black Beauty 3 pickup with a Bigsby for 74. There's a 57 3 pickup Black Beauty on Reverb for 71.
That's a cool guitar.
I mean, they're so cool. I mean, granted, this is crazy money. This is money that most of us will never spend on anything save for a house.
Yeah. But there's people out there, dude. Like, there's people out there that they need it for a tax write-off. You know what I mean? Like, they need it to, it happens. To us, it's crazy money.
I wish I could write off $70,000 worth of taxes. I want to get it off this year and next year and...
I mean, it's just how it is, man. It's where people are at, but still. Oh, all right. Oh, shill. We got a shill.
Oh yeah.
I've got one. I guess I'll go first.
Uh-oh.
It's in the box because I actually have to send it back for repair. I've had this pedal for almost 10 years.
Oh gosh.
Bought this 10 years ago.
You finally broke it.
I broke it a few years ago. I broke it I don't know that I broke it. I think something's wrong with one of the knobs or something, but we were organizing here this week, and I remember when we moved last year, I had put this in the box because I was like, I need to send it back to get it repaired so I can have this pedal. And then in the move, I just lost it. Yeah. But the Earthquaker Devices Bit Commander. Let me put this on autofocus here.
Yeah.
Dude, this was my first weird pedal, like my first pedal that wasn't a reverb or an overdrive or a boost, something that was just out there for the sake of being out there.
Yeah.
And it was on my board for years and years and years. Hence why it's not working right now. But yeah, really, really cool synth kind of octave fuzz thing. If you're not familiar with the Bit Commander, I mean, most people are at this point. It's a bit of a classic.
I've never owned an Earthquaker pedal.
What?
No, never have.
Are you serious?
Nope.
Dude.
I don't know how. It's just like, it's just missed me.
I've had this one, and one of my favorite fuzzes of all time is the Hoof Reaper V2. Hoof. H-E-W-F. Yeah, the Hoof Reaper V2. I love that pedal.
Well, I also have a pedal, and I had a different one, but then I remembered I haven't talked about this one. This is I don't know how to pronounce this name. It's either Wonder, like the Wonders from that thing Wonder. You do, or Oneater. Like the Oneaters.
Of those two, I don't know that Oneater is the one. I mean, far be it for me to give advice on how to pronounce things, but
Yeah, I have no idea. I know I talked to Nick, who runs this company quite often.
Why don't you just ask him then?
I did, and he's like, it's whatever you want it to be.
That's not helpful. Come on, Nick. You know what it is.
If you don't follow his Instagram, it's really funny. It's like half pedal stuff, half his dog, like videos of his dogs pooping in like the yard.
Okay, cool.
It's really funny. But this is one of his drives. He does one called the Red Rider, which is like a modded rat, and he's got a new one coming out that's like a different overdrive.
I love the logos on the knobs.
Yeah, the symbol is very orange.
Yeah.
But it's a great sounding drive. It stacks really well, and it's really well made. And yeah, love the big synth knobs and stuff. It's just
that's a cool pedal.
It's a cool pedal. I have all sorts of pedals that I need to like feature somewhere, because I'll buy things from people, or people will send me things, and I feel like, I owe it to them as part of the community to help, because if I like it, I want to tell people about it.
Yeah.
So I need to remember this. But the Wonder Drive is really cool, and he does these in all sorts of special colors because he's like still at the point where he can do that.
Yeah.
So very very cool.
The old Oneater Drive. Hey, speaking of orange, you think they knew what they were doing when they named the new Marcus King amp, right? Have you seen that?
It's the MK. What's it?
The
called?
MK Ultra.
MK Ultra. It's the Mortal Kombat. The Ultra wasn't that
the CIA experiment where they experimented with LSD on people? Isn't that what that is?
Oh, illegal human experimentation. It's from the CIA. Yes, I was thinking of Mortal Kombat. Isn't it Mortal Kombat 3 Ultra? Wasn't that?
No.
Wasn't there a Mortal Kombat Ultra game?
I don't know, but I saw Marcus release that this week, and I was like, oh, wait. And his release video that they did for Orange, he was like, they had an amp called the Ultra, and we just figured Marcus King MK Ultra. I was like, really?
Oh God. Maybe. I just Googled Mortal Kombat Ultra, and the first thing was a Reddit post that says, my dumbass thought that MK Ultra is a game on the Reddit Mortal Kombat thread. So I guess, God. Okay, so that's me too. That Marcus King amp is expensive.
It's very expensive, but it looks very cool.
It's
the first orange amp, or as I say, orange, because I'm from the South. Orange. It's the first orange amp made in America, right?
What? Like why the hell is it? Why is it made in America?
I don't know. Because of the CIA. Maybe the CIA makes it.
Like what? Why is it made in America? That bothers me.
MK Ultra is a pot strain.
Oh, there's every pot strain. There's like Gorilla Glue and red milk. What else? You just put any word together. Blue milk, red milk.
Dude, when I used to work at a climbing gym, and I would make climbing routes, and we would have to name the routes, and we would do the thing where we'd get 3 people together and then count to 3, and then each person would just say a noun. And so we got some. We need to sign off. All right, this has been great. You guys are awesome. We love y'all. We'll see you next week, and goodbye.
Bye.